Do you think the law treats everyone the same? Wait until you smell arrogance. New England Municipal Court. Morning docket. Signs glare from painted cinder block. No smoking. No vaping. No open flame. The benches hold a cross-section of habit. Retirees with manila envelopes, a corner store owner in a windbreaker, a former teacher with a spiral notebook. Fluorescents hum. The flag droops in the conditioned air. The door eases open, and a young man slides through like he owns the hinge. Dylan Mercer, 24, razor-creased blazer, leather case in hand. A thick cigar hangs at the corner of his mouth. He flicks a gold lighter, dry click, brief flare, and draws until the leaf glows. The first exhale rolls across the aisle, sweet and oily. "Sir, extinguish that, please," the bailiff says, voice trained to calm bad mornings. Dylan takes his time, eyes grazing the signs as if they were art. "This is private property," he answers, smoke veiling the smile. "My heir, my choice." "It's a government building," the bailiff replies evenly. "Tobacco is prohibited, all of it." A soft cough from the teacher. Someone shifts a cane. The smell keeps moving, a slow insult. The clerk calls cases, parking, noise, paperwork lapses, until the room lands on him. City vs. Mercer, Dylan. A thin stack appears, not one slip, but a string of them. Noise after midnight, engine revving downtown. Parking a coupe across a marked loading zone. Missing registration decal on the windshield. All stamped within hours of each other. Dylan sets his leather case on the rail. A polished glass ashtray slides out, as if he carries his own permission. Alongside it tumbles a hard plastic badge. Investor Access, Tower Club, embossed with a glossy skyline. A whisper lifts from the benches, quick and certain. Mercer, Ethan Mercer's boy, the fund. Let us know where you're watching from, and we hope you enjoy the story. The judge's mic clicks alive. No theatrics, only procedure. "Mr. Mercer," he says, gaze steady, "there are no special zones in this room." Dylan crushes the cigar to a smolder and rests it in his traveling ashtray rather than killing it. Smoke still threads upward. The bailiff's jaw doesn't move. His eyes do. The clerk lays out photos on the display. A loading dock blocked by a glossy bumper. A night street with tire marks and blurry taillights. A windshield bare where a sticker should be. The convenience store owner in the second row, Mr. Patel, stares at the loading zone image like it's a bill that bounced. "Extinguish it completely," the judge repeats, not louder, just closer. Dylan pinches the ember until it dies, then sets the stub in the ashtray with the delicacy of a ritual. He doesn't apologize. He adjusts a cuff. The room has shifted now. What began as a morning of fines smells like a test. The bailiff folds his hands. The teacher watches over bifocals. The judge closes the general docket and looks to the clerk. "We'll hear Mr. Mercer's matter separately," he says. "Let's be clear about what, exactly, we're dealing with." "Mr. Mercer," the judge says evenly, "that cigar is finished. In this courtroom, there are no special areas." Dylan lowers the glowing tip into the crystal dish he brought, but he doesn't crush it, just lets it smolder. A curl of sweet smoke lifts like a flag no one asked for. "Completely," the judge adds. A soft twist of fingers, a final hiss, and the ember dies. Dylan sets the cutter beside it, silver, engraved DM, as if to park his signature on the table. Who he is arrives with him even when he says nothing. Son of Ethan Mercer, the real estate baron whose purchases change skylines. Photos of Dylan are easy to find. Velvet ropes, track days, cigar rooms with leather chairs. The prop isn't accessory. It's part of a costume he's worn so long it feels like skin. The clerk notes prior history. Several parking warnings waived as a courtesy after calls from building security. Nothing official, nothing written, just favors that trained a young man to expect soft landings. The next sheet in the file is not a ticket, it's a report. The firehouse logged a late-night response. Smoke detector triggered in the underground garage of a luxury tower. On-screen stills show a figure with a cigar entering an elevator. A coupe with Dylan's plates rolls out minutes later. The room tightens by a notch. Mr. Patel clears his throat. "Your Honor," he says, standing small but steady. "His car across my loading zone stopped a medication drop. My driver left. Some of my older customers went without until evening. One of them is here." He gestures to a woman with a portable oxygen cannula. Her eyes are tired, not angry. "Smoking," Dylan begins, opening his palms. "It's cultural for me, and it helps when my anxiety spikes." The judge doesn't bite at the bait. "If you need a pause for your nerves, we'll recess, and you can step outside under supervision." Burning tobacco inside a government building is not an accommodation. A faint color rises in Dylan's cheeks. He shifts, tugging the cuff smooth again. The teacher in the back row watches him the way a metronome watches a student, waiting for rhythm to return. "Let's be clear," the judge continues. "We are separating comfort from safety. The latter is not negotiable." He lifts the night photographs. The garage incident touches more than manners. Dylan shrugs, smaller than before. "It was nothing, just a little smoke." The judge tips his head. "A moment ago you spoke about anxiety. Now it's just a smell. Which is it?" No answer comes. The clerk's pen pauses over the pad. "We'll get facts, not poses," the judge says, closing one folder and opening another. "We'll come back to fines. First, the truth." He nods at the bailiff. "Pull the elevator footage and the alarm log from the tower's garage. Mr. Mercer, were you the one who lit that cigar underground? Or was it someone in your party?" The projector warms. A small fan spins up. The room leans forward, not for spectacle, but because the next frames will decide whether this morning stays about tickets or becomes about the weight of other people's breath. The projector's fan spins up. The bailiff dims the lights to a courtroom twilight. A frozen frame waits on the screen, time-stamped after midnight. The elevator doors a steel mouth about to speak. "Last chance for a breath outside," the judge offers, even. 5 minutes, escorted." "I'm not stepping out just because someone doesn't like a smell," Dylan says, settling back. A muscle jumps in the judge's jaw. A moment ago it was panic. Now it's preference. The record will reflect both. The clerk brings a glossy photo to the document camera. Concrete in the tower garage, a crescent of scorched black near a ventilation grate. Next to it, a silver cigar cutter glints, engraved with DM. The image magnifies on the wall. No story, just residue. "That's not mine," Dylan says automatically, then remembers the cutter on the table by his ashtray. His eyes cut down, then away. From the second row, a quiet voice. "I taught you in 8th grade, Mr. Mercer." The retired teacher, Mrs. Byrne, stands with care. "You laughed when fire drills stole class time. I told you one day a false alarm would cost someone more than a period." She sits. No scold, only memory laid on the wood. The room tightens without noise. Mr. Patel folds his hands over his knee. The woman with the oxygen cannula shifts the tube, listening for the part that mentions her heir. The judge doesn't raise his tone. "We are not debating taste or tradition," he says, moving the fine schedule aside. "We are addressing ignition and consequence." He nods to the bailiff. A click and the display splits. Left pane labeled Elevator Cam, P2. Right pane, Fire Panel Log. The cursor hovers. Red digits wait to roll. Who lit the cigar in the underground garage? The judge asks, eyes on Dylan. You? Or someone with you? Dylan's fingers find the edge of the crystal ashtray he shouldn't have brought. He says nothing. The judge looks to the clerk. Subpoena acknowledgement from the tower was received? Yes, Your Honor. Logs certified. Good. We'll confine ourselves to verifiable sequence. The AC breathes a steady line through the silence. A soft cough in the last row catches, then fades. The projector's speakers pop faintly. Ready. We'll postpone dollar figures, the judge says, tapping the bench once. First, facts. He angles his chin to the bailiff. Roll the elevator feed to 21 seconds before the alarm. Sync with the panel time. A knuckle wraps the console. The timeline bar brightens. Frames cue, smoke and motion about to find each other. The judge's hand settles, open, waiting for the evidence to finish what argument could not. The split screen comes alive. On the left, the elevator doors part on level P2. Dylan steps in with two friends, one palming a book of matches, Dylan holding a half-bit cigar, and the same silver cutter now resting on the table. He lifts the cigar, smiles sideways. The mic doesn't catch everything, but the words land clear enough. Let's christen the tower. On the right, the fire panel log flickers timestamps. P2 smoke detect, 0:13:42. Alarm transmit, 0:13:46. Engine dispatched, 0:14:02. A low murmur ripples, more breath than voice. The judge taps the console and freezes the frame, smoke unfurling in a clean concrete box, the log bright red beside it. This isn't an accident, he says, calm as a ruler. It's ceremony. The clerk advances the log. Engine arrival time, reset attempts, all tidy as a ledger. Per city code, the judge continues, if a response is triggered without cause, the municipality may seek reimbursement for the run, fuel, crew time, equipment wear, once causation is established. Dylan stares at the tabletop, jaw tight. The cutter's initials throw a small, traitorous shine. A uniformed lieutenant from the firehouse stands, cap under his arm. Your Honor, he says, voice gravel from long nights. That dispatch pulled our engine out of its first due zone for 9 minutes. While we were there, another call ticked in. Smoke on a stove at a senior building 1 mile over. We sent a neighboring company. They made it. But for a few minutes, an old man with a pan on fire had fewer people on his side. He sits. No drama, just math with lives in it. Somewhere in the back, a soft O escapes and dies. The woman with the oxygen cannula adjusts the tubing and looks down. The judge lets the room absorb it, then clicks the video off. The projector's fan winds down to a hush. So we are not talking about a smell, he says. We are talking about a chain, ignition, alarm, displacement. Your show of style became someone else's risk. He closes the folder of citations and opens a blank legal pad. We'll come back to the amounts posted on the wall, he says, tapping once. First we address cost, the wall doesn't list. Time taken from a city, minutes taken from a neighborhood, breath taken from people who don't have extra. He turns to Dylan, the tone unchanged. We will talk now about how you intend to pay that back. The judge's pen hovers over a blank line. All of us paid for your smoke. Time, worry, money. What will you pay? Dylan's attorney rises, smooth as a brochure. My client is prepared to make a generous donation to the Firefighters Fund and settle all fines today. A donation is charity, the judge replies, not unkind. We're discussing restitution and character. The city will accept reimbursement for the run, but you cannot purchase the habit that led here. He gestures. Mr. Patel. The shopkeeper stands. We time deliveries before dawn, he says. That morning, my driver couldn't reach the dock. The meds went back. Mrs. Green, he nods to the woman with the oxygen, waited until evening. She lifts her chin. When you light one of those, she says, voice papery, my lungs don't vote on it. They close. The silence that follows isn't punitive. It's exact. The judge sets out terms, building them like scaffolding. First, statutory fines for each citation, plus documented reimbursement to the fire department for the dispatch. He turns a page. Second, completion of the city's fire safety and community impact program. It is brief. It is not soft. Another line. Third, community service. Not at a gala. Not in a press room. You will log hours at the respiratory clinic and the senior center. Early shifts. Oxygen cylinders, wheelchair runs, whatever they ask. He looks up. Fourth, apologies. Here, now, specific, not cosmetic, to Mr. Patel and to the fire lieutenant. No cameras, no team. One more condition, plain as a bolt. For the duration of probation, you will not bring smoking implements into government buildings. If you do, suspended penalties become active. Dylan's throat works. He stands, hands at his sides. Mr. Patel, he says, finding the words against the shape his life usually makes. I blocked your dock. Your customers went without. I thought about my convenience, not your clock. I'm sorry. He turns to the lieutenant. I lit a cigar underground. It pulled your engine. You were needed somewhere else. That was mine to prevent. I'm sorry. There's no applause, just a small collective exhale and the rasp of the judge's pen as he writes. The order will reflect these conditions, the judge says. Meet them by the review date, and I will suspend a portion of the financial burden. Fail, and the full schedule applies, with whatever follows. The clerk assembles a manila packet, program dates, clinic contacts, restitution forms. A checklist, not a speech. The bailiff passes it across. Dylan takes it without looking for a lens. Next matter, the judge says, but no one quite moves. The bench creaks once as someone shifts. The HVAC lays a steady line through the room. What bites isn't the number on a receipt, it's the picture in a head. Steel doors closing, an engine leaving a block, a pan smoking an extra minute because a young man wanted a moment of theater. The packet's weight in Dylan's hand is ordinary paper, and suddenly that feels like the heaviest thing he's carried. He comes back without the leather case or the gleam of a cutter. No ashtray, no lighter. Just a slim folder and a steadier gait. The clerk calls the matter. The flag stirs once in the climate's breath. Status, the judge says. The packet opens. Certificates from the Fire Safety and Community Impact course. Signed receipts for restitution to the department. Crew time, fuel, equipment. Logs of service hours at the respiratory clinic and senior center. Pre-dawn shifts, cylinder runs, chair escorts. Names, dates, signatures. A nurse from the clinic stands, badge clipped to a cardigan. He showed at 5, she says. Carried tanks, changed humidifiers, walked the long halls. No photos, just work. The fire lieutenant rises next. The city's check cleared, he says. More important, he listened. I'd rather see an empty run than a repeat of this one. The clerk places a fresh letter on the bench. From the tower's management, she notes. New garage rules, fines for smoking, added detectors, resident notice. The judge reads, nods once. Good. One story. Wider guardrails. He signs, Part of the fines suspended per compliance. Remainder due today. Probation to end with this order. The pen's stroke makes a dry path across the page. Mr. Mercer, the judge says, not unkind, you learned that the city breathes as one thing. Your gesture borrowed air that wasn't yours. You've returned it with effort. Keep doing that when there's no docket to remind you. Yes, Your Honor, Dylan answers. No swagger, no script. Mr. Patel lifts a hand from the second row. Doc's clear these days, he says, a small nod, nothing theatrical. Mrs. Green touches her oxygen line and offers the briefest smile. Dylan answers with a quiet, "Thank you," which sounds less like a line and more like a promise to stay out of the way. He turns to leave. The no smoking, no vaping, no open flame signs watch him pass. His pockets hold no metal, only the folded receipt for what he owes. The door closes with a soft seal. Sneakers fade down the hall. What lingers isn't a headline, just the relief of ordinary systems working. A truck that can reach a loading bay, an engine that stays in its zone, a stove watched by a crew that wasn't pulled across town. The lesson lands where it matters for those who count mornings by pills and appointments. Strength isn't a flame you brandish. It's the will to snuff it before it costs your neighbor a breath.